But to start at the top, ONR, owned by Optimum. If you've ever heard of Optimum Polymer Technologies or Optico Pro, Optimum No Rinse, it's all the same company. Invented by an Oregon State grad who now has 7 degrees, including doctorates in science and chemistry, things way above my little certification. So anyway, also this man invented ceramic coating. So we've all heard of paint ceramic coatings, it's all the buzzword nowadays. Well, the founder and inventor of all these products also is the guy that invented ceramic coatings for paint. Okay, so, but the first one that we're going to talk about just real quick is ONR, the Optimum No Rinse. Now, how many people are not familiar with ONR? Haven't heard of it? Okay. So, basically it's a new way to wash your cars. We say, how we used to wash cars was drag a hose out, get all your equipment, hundreds of dollars worth of stuff out in the front yard or in the driveway, and suds it all up, rinse it, do it really fast because the sun's going to be drying it, leaving water spots. All this hassle. Then when you drive, you have drips running out of every little crack and crevice because you've gotten it wet. And so it takes so long, wastes a lot of water, and a lot of times we produce substandard results. I put it this way, that is how Ben-Hur washed his chariot, okay? Technology has advanced just a little bit. Some of you guys never been seeing Ben-Hur. You guys are way too young. I gotta come up with a younger reference here. So anyway, so a rinseless product like ONR can help eliminate doing all that kind of stuff. So,
I think so.
as a professional detailer that does this for a living, you know, obviously I do this every day, I do it frequently. We have to kind of draw the line between what's just a wash and what's like a detail. Because there's everything in between, right? And there's usefulness for all different levels of service. So this demo is going to be more about just kind of maintaining the car. If you have major things like a giant blob of sap that's been sitting there for a long time, or a scuff mark from somebody hitting you in the parking lot, or maybe somebody driving your car hit the edge of the garage and scuffed it, all that stuff, you know, is not under this umbrella, and we can address that during the Q&A. So this car, for example, and it's perfect. I'm glad we got these bug spiders here. We don't get bugs here nowhere near as bad as they do in the south and even in the east in Bend, right? They get it just horrible over there. But here sometimes we do get this. So the reason I mentioned the bugs is because on this car, between that and the bird poop right here, there's another one back here. Detailers like John and Billy and I, we just cringe. It was hard for me to even leave that there when I first saw the car parked until now, because bird poop is so corrosive, especially on darker color cars. You have direct sun, the heat makes it even more corrosive. And by corrosive, I mean it just starts etching its way into that clear coat. Now, all paints are different, all manufacturers are different. Sometimes the bird poop will etch its way very fast. If it's a 100-degree day, you got a black hood and direct sun, and a bird comes along and does this to you, it can be a matter of an hour. And you wipe it off and you'll be like, whoa, what's going on? Other cars, the white one over there, let's say, middle of winter, it's freezing cold, bird poop on, it can stay there for a week. And you really might even have to, like me, get down in the light just right and find it. So there's different levels of this. So the darker your car, the more finicky you're gonna have to be to keep it up. It's just the nature of it, okay? So if you want a low maintenance car, buy the whites, buy these silvers. But if you really wanna stand out and have a great looking car that people actually go, whoa, that's not just another Tesla. Then the darkers like the blue and the blacks, and then maintain it. But it takes more maintenance. Patrick Gibson's got a dark blue one, and the maintenance on it, you know, is a little bit higher. So that's just the nature of that. Okay, so the actual wash itself. If you didn't have any bird poop or any bugs, and it was just dusty, you mix up your ONR, and again, I won't go into great detail. The instructions are on the bottle. You can buy it online, or you can buy it from us. Now, there are two different kinds of ONR. there's the ONR you can get anywhere, online, Amazon, you know, whatever, stores have it. Then you have so that's one step no rinse is what ONR stands for, by the way. One step no rinse. This is Opticoat No Rinse. Works almost exactly the same way. The only difference is this has more polymers in it, so that when we're done, it leaves behind some polymers that make the surface a little more slick. Okay, so this stuff is only available from authorized installers like us. It doesn't mean you have to buy it. You can go online and buy. Now you can't buy this one, but you can buy the traditional ONR, the blue stuff. It all works the same way. This is just a different color and it smells a little bit different. Okay, so having said that, so if we're not going to take off the bugs right now, or let's just say that they weren't the worst part, this is how easy it is. You can do it in your garage in the middle of winter. Instead of letting that car stay dirty all winter because you don't want to wash it, you don't want to go through a car wash, it's freezing cold, ice on the ground or whatever, so you leave your car dirty for 3 months straight. Again, not good because of the example with the bird poop. All that time, all the dirt and stuff is just etching its way into your paint. So even in bad weather, you need to be washing your car. But this is how you do it in the garage, is using a method like this. So I pre-spray. If I can get my trigger to work right. This just pre-moistens it. You're just getting the surface wet. And this is right away when ONR starts doing its thing. It's not just wet, and it's not a soap. Okay? This guy here, I'm gonna moisten it up a little bit more. And we'll do, let's say, this much.
You're avoiding windows intentionally?
Nope. I'm just starting on the paint because that's the most important part.
It doesn't hurt, you know.
Absolutely not. Yeah, that's another thing about ONR. It cannot hurt your car. You can't make it hurt your car. Anything. We use this to do the windows inside. We wipe down the dash, the screen displays. Okay, so this is the only way you can hurt it is if you drink it. And even then, I mean, you notice I'm not wearing protective equipment because you don't need to. It's a very safe product. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm starting here just as demo. When we start doing more cars, we'll start at the top and go down. You know, it's kind of the basics. But this is just, and then in my bucket here, I've got a grit guard in the bottom. If you guys haven't seen these, this goes in the bottom so that any sediment that comes out of our wash mitt settles to the bottom, the sand and the grit. If we didn't have this and we put this back in the bottom, we can pick that stuff right back up on our rag and move it around. Okay, so putting a grit guard in the bottom is good. This is also ONR mixed up in here. Okay, so it just takes 1 ounce to 2 gallons of water. There's 2 gallons of water in there. We like these. This is called a noodle microfiber wash mitt. There's other kinds of wash media. This is just what we prefer. Okay, because we detail cars every day, and if I use something that messes up your paint, who has to pay to fix it? It's me, right? So trust me, I'm using the safest method possible to do that. And so safest method for me is safest method for you. Okay? So our area is pre-moistened. Get about that much. Wring a little bit out, but we want a little bit of moisture still in there. Now we'll do one fender or one panel at a time, depending on how dirty it is. This isn't terribly dirty. So with very little weight, I'm just kind of dragging this along. I'm not shoving in. Now that bird poop's going to come up, and I'm going to right away rinse that out. Because birds can eat seeds, and the seeds get in there, and then now you think, oh, it's got the bird poop off, but there can be seeds in there, so aside it from being corrosive. Okay, so we got that up.
So you're worried about the seeds because they'll scratch.
Right, right, yeah, I didn't clarify that. Yeah, seeds in there, so it's not just corrosive from the acids in there. The seeds, you drag it all around, and now you scratch it. Okay. So, like this, with very little pressure, go around things like this. So I put my finger like that, that's all I'm doing right here, light pressure. Just gonna go back, forth, about like that. Flip it over, now this is the dirty side. Again, not much pressure. I'm gonna go down to about right there. Obviously this area down here is even dirtier. So common sense tells you you don't really want to wash right there, the dirtiest part, and then immediately drag it up on the top. Okay, so we can do that part last. Just there. And all Larry's like that. Okay, so that's just a couple of panels. And I'll do this full speed from the top in just a moment. Okay, so let's say it's outside. Let's say it's outside and the sun's beating down on us, and you're like, Jason, man, you're gonna do the whole car, and in the meantime, this water's just sitting here evaporating, and you're gonna leave water spots. Which again, water spots are terrible, highly corrosive. Well, you can do a panel at a time. You get your drying towel out. Again, very little pressure. This. This is the no rinse part of ONR. So we didn't rinse anything off. We don't have a hose running. We don't need a hose running. That's it.
In the garage.
And that's also left behind some polymer, so it's a little bit slick. Okay, so that's kind of the concept. Full speed. This is how I would do it. Start at the top. Glass is so much harder than paint. We're not really worried about scratching it, right? I mean, you common sense, unless there's gravel, you're not going to scratch glass. Okay. Now, if there's some now if there's some bug splatters on here, you could pre-spray it just to soften it up if you need to. But generally, this doesn't look like it needs it. Now, a little cheater. You guys do in one car, you do it with your trigger bottle. Us professionals do this. Much more faster. To that third spot right there. You only really need to pre-spray the area, the sections that you're going to be doing. Again, so you can do this in the bright burning sun if you wanted to. Just do a section at a time. As a professional, we want to be efficient, so we do as much as we can. So now I'm going to do just glass first up here. Again, on glass, we're not as concerned with flipping our wash rag over, because again, it's not really going to scratch. Oh, the sun's coming out. That's good. Okay. So there's glass, and then we're just going to keep going. Now we're going to be a little more finicky about flipping over our rag here. Again, no real pressure needed. Right there, flip our rag over, clean side. Yeah, see that bird group's staying. So that's the next thing, is that if something doesn't come off with this method that I'm using, don't freak out. We'll get to it, okay? We want to use the least abrasive method first, and that's what we're doing. That bird group's staying there, so I'm not going to go over here with my thumbnail and gouge on it. I'm not going to go, why won't that come off? We'll get to it. Okay, flip the towel over. Saving all this bottom part for the last room. Okay.
Caddy's car wash is gonna get upset if this picks up.
Now, the benefit of using ONR also is that if this does dry on the surface and leave a little bit of a water spot, let's say the phone rang, you had to go inside for a bit, it's not the end of the world because it's not going to etch its way into your paint like regular water. We have what we call a polymer spot. In other words, it just wipes right off. Okay. So you can see with, you know, little practice and stuff, you can get right through it like this. Now, we would just continue this all the way around the car. But we still got this nagging bird poop spot here. I would probably hit it again, let it soak again. But this will bring me to my next thing. Let's do the front, the bugs. So the bugs, we hope they come off with this method. But again, they may not. We just did a car from Florida, drove from Florida to here. And they have love bugs, which I had to be informed what that even is. But oh my gosh, the front of the car is just plastered, and they're super acidic. So they're really bad down there. So let's see if these bugs come off. See, there's some right there too.
Release the grit from your wash mitt. Should we be shaking it in?
Yeah, I'm just agitating it a little bit.
Okay,
you know.
it is drops off.
Yeah, yeah, you get in there like that. And Billy, where you at?
Yeah.
What's I forget like the terminology that Ivan uses for how it pulls the dirt off the surface and then encapsulates it.
What polymers do, it's dirt. So think of regular wash media, it's just dragging it across your paint, where the polymers are encapsulating it, lifting it off the surface, so when you're scooping it off with your wash mitt, it's not going to be grinding into your paint. It's got that little bit of polymer to kind of protect it from actually dragging across. So you're
It like
actually
coats the dirt
lifting it.
with a polymer coating.
Sorry?
It coats the dirt with the
Right,
polymer.
it kind of encapsulates it. Yeah, kind of puts a barrier over it.
I'm gonna go over this bug part one more time.
What a time to be alive. I'm sitting here on a Saturday watching somebody wash a car.
Now, I'm not drying off that front part because I want more soak time to soften up those bugs.
What's the extra details
Because it depends on what you're getting done.
Jason, how long have you guys been using ONR?
Man,
So it's been a
should
while.
look it up. Over 6 years.
Okay.
That's the best, without looking it up, that's the best I can tell you.
Yeah.
Over 6. I've been applying the Optico Pro for 6, and I know I started using ONR prior to that. So.
Okay. So prior to that, you guys were just doing the traditional 2-bucket method with, you know, wash and rinse?
Us as detailers never use the 2-bucket method.
Okay.
We actually have pressure washers set up, you know, for industrial cleaning, you know, not industrial, but that kind of cleaning. And then keep in mind, a detail shop like us, we're not getting paid to just wash a car.
Sure.
We're gonna prep it, we're gonna clay it,
Yeah.
you know, polish, we're gonna do all these other things.
Sure.
So, you know, this is just kind of a wash demo.
Gotcha.
If we were washing it to prep for further work, we would use different chemicals because we don't want to leave behind polymers.
Yeah.
We want to strip everything off that we can.
For sure.
So, okay, so bugs are still here. We got rid of a lot of them. But so this brings me to my next thing is a cleaner that's a little bit stronger. So, for example, this is a degreaser called Power Clean, again made by Optimum. We like this product again because it's safe on our hands. You know, there's all kinds of super clean degreasers out there, like Castrol Super Clean is an amazing cleaner. But there's a reason it's amazing. There's all kinds of stuff in it that's not safe. And that's one of the tenets of Optimum is make products that are safe for the environment and safe for the users. So to jump back clear to the beginning of this wash job, if I saw bugs this bad and I knew they were going to come off with just using ONR, I would have pre-sprayed it with Power Clean. Okay, it's because it's just a stronger degreaser. If I can get it just squirty. There we go. And so then this you use almost the same way, and then you just pre-soak anything that's really bad, whether it's bugs on the front, wheels, tires. These aren't too bad, so I'm not going to use Power Clean. We're going to still use ONR on this. But if your wheels and tires are really nasty with a lot of brake dust and stuff, use a degreaser first to pre-soak. I'm also going to use this on this little guy here. And then we just go over it exactly like we did here. So how long to let it pre-soak? It doesn't really matter. You can't let it sit on too long. In other words, it's not going to hurt if it sits too long. But what will happen is it'll dry, the product will dry, and then it loses its effectiveness. So you have to kind of keep it moist. And then again, no pressure, to, pushing on this to get stuff off. Pressure is when we cause scratches and damage like that. Okay, see these guys aren't coming off? I'm still not freaking out about it. I will, go over a little bit, and then you kind of start looking and go, sometimes you may go, oh wait, it's not a bug, it's a rock chip or something that you've been digging on until you get down here and see. Now these definitely are bugs. So yeah, I'll let that pre-soak. See, that one came right off. And then I'll see if this comes off. And then, so while we're waiting for that, yeah, see that took that off. It's going to bring me to my next thing is slickness of your paint and what causes things to stick to it, what causes your paint to be shiny or dull or whatever. It sounds really simple, but basically if I know a car has a coating on it, a ceramic coating, well, let's just start with wax. If I know a car has been kept up on wax every 3 to 4 months, then we know this stuff isn't going to stick to it as easy. Bug's still going to splat, but it just can't stick. And that's common sense, right? Things just can't stick to wax. The downside of wax is it has a short lifespan. It wears off, gets washed off. So, there's other coatings like sealants, paint sealants, polymers, last a little bit longer. And then there's the ceramic coatings, which isn't really what this demonstration is about, but a ceramic coating makes it to where, can't think of the word, but stuff just doesn't stick to it, kind of like your Teflon pan. So the funny part about that is it can also make the car shiny because it's slick, but that's not the part that makes it release properties. That's what I was thinking of. Think of a Teflon pan, right? Hardly anything sticks to it. But is it shiny? Is it super reflective like this? Not really. It's kind of pebbly and stuff. So there's two different things going on there that cause shine and that cause things not to stick. Okay, so this is how technical it can get, especially if you get online and you start searching Chemical Brothers websites and YouTube videos and stuff. A lot of things out there are meant to confuse. We don't like to confuse, we actually want to simplify. So if doing all of this doesn't get off something on your paint, like sap or whatever, then if you don't really know what you're doing, you're kind of guessing, that's when you need to have professional advice. We offer it for free. We don't nickel and dime everybody. You come by and you go, Jason, what's going on? I washed my car twice and pre-soaked, and these bugs didn't come off. rather come to you and say, what do you do? And then I'll show you in 2 seconds how to get it off, okay? So I only say that because we get a lot of jobs that unfortunately we have to charge quite a bit because somebody's gone around the whole car with an abrasive polish or kitchen scratcher to take off sap around the entire car. Now we're talking a major paint correction job. And that's why we're here, because although I make money doing that for you, it's an unpleasant transaction, right? I don't want to have to fix that. I'd rather do other things that make me money, not, you know, hey, sorry, John Smith, you just, you know, $2,000 worth of paint correction to get your car 90% of what it was. Okay, we can do it, but that's not rewarding for us detailers. Okay, so that's kind of one of the reasons we're doing this, to kind of show you how to avoid that. So next little thing here is wheels. Again, I'm not using degreaser, I'm just using the ONR, same stuff. And then a couple other little special tools. A brush like this is called a flagged brush. In other words, it's not just a plastic brush. So, in other words, I can go like this on this paint, and I'm not worried about it scratching, okay?
I am.
Trust me, okay? And that's because it's not just another brush. These tips are called flagged, and you can kind of Google what that means. But basically what I say is, if you can take a brush like this and you can just rub it right there, or you'd have no problem rubbing it on your little children's little cheek, you know, it's not going to scratch, it's going to be okay for your paint. Now, the thing is, you can't really tell until you touch it yourself. Some products online will say flagged because they know that's the catchword now. Ooh, get a flagged brush. You got to actually touch it yourself to see. And as detailers, it's my career, so I'm not going to do anything that's going to mess up and cause me more work. But this is perfect for wheels, especially like this, where they're kind of intricate. You got to get in there. Boom, you're done. I'm going to use an actual different one here. There is brake dust on that. Which brings up my next thing. You guys know where these are from,
Costco.
right? It's Costco. Don't go buying these expensive, high-dollar microfiber towels. Again, it's all the catchphrase of what's the pile number, what's the GSM, all this stuff. Now, there is a time for that. Like, this drying towel is microfiber, and I mean, it's heavy. You just pass that around, you feel how thick and flush. Now, that's fairly important to have a good one because you're using that to dry your paint, okay? For stuff like this, right, there's nothing cheaper than these Costco towels. And you just dry it off. Again, you don't have to waste a bunch of money buying the latest chemical guys. You know, I mention chemical guys a lot, even though I buy from them sometimes too. But it's because of just how they make it sound like you have to have, you know, if you don't have a foam cannon, you know, or these other tricks, the 2-bucket method. And then we go, well, 2-bucket, well, what about 3-bucket? Well, you get a 47-bucket method, right? I mean, because every time you put it in, it gets a little better. You know, all this stuff that's just meant to confuse so that you buy more product. And it's just not necessary. So now this guy here, only because I'm a professional, I know, there we go.
Don't do that.
It just took a little bit of time to let that soak in those. One was a bee, it was a bug.